If you want to break into cybersecurity in 2026, there is a right way and a wrong way, and most people are doing it the wrong way. They are stacking certifications that they don't even need, watching tutorial after tutorial just to feel ready, sending out hundreds of applications and getting nothing back. And the frustrating part is they are working hard, they're putting in the hours, but hard work without the right strategy is just expensive and wasted. And in 2026, with AI reshaping the hiring landscape faster than anyone expected, the wrong strategy is going to cost you more than just time. So in this video, I'm going to give you the exact roadmap to break into cybersecurity the right way. Now, I want to be upfront about where I'm coming from. I did not start in tech. I was working late night shifts in healthcare, multiple jobs, long hours, decent pay, but zero freedom. And I was making minimum wage. And when I decided to make the switch into cybersecurity, I had no degree, no certifications, and no technical background. I was doing what everybody else told me to do. I started consuming, watching tutorials, courses, YouTube roadmaps, and I was about to spend thousands on certifications because everyone around me said that was the answer. That was almost the most expensive mistake of my life, because I realized the problem was never my knowledge. It was the fact that I had no idea how to position myself. I landed my first tech role before I even got a single certification. And since then, I have helped people do the same. People from healthcare, retail, logistics, breaking into tech and landing roles that change their financial trajectory completely. So when I tell you the system is broken, I am not guessing. I lived it and I rebuilt it. Let me show you the roadmap. There are 5 phases to this roadmap: research, foundation, experience, proof of work, and transition. Most people skip straight to transition and wonder why nothing is working. Every phase builds on the last. Let me walk you through each one. Phase 1, research and direction. Before you touch a single certification or watch a single tutorial, the very first thing you need to do is research. Not Google, not YouTube, yourself. Because here's what nobody tells you when you are starting out. Cybersecurity is not one career. It is an entire industry with completely different paths inside of it. You have SOC analysis, penetration testing, cloud security, GRC, incident response, digital forensics, threat intelligence. These are not variations of the same job. They require different skills, different certifications, different ways of thinking. And if you do not know which direction you are going to spend months studying the wrong thing. So before anything else, sit down and ask yourself what actually interests, not what pays the most, not what someone on YouTube said was the easiest to break into, what genuinely interests you. Because the fastest path into this field is the one that aligns with what you actually want to do. Now here's how I'd figure that out, because most people skip this step entirely. And that is done through networking and finding your direction. I would immediately start putting myself around people already in the field. LinkedIn, Discord communities, Reddit threads, local tech meetups, DMing people directly. Not to ask for a job, but to ask the right question. What does your day-to-day actually look like? What path did you take? What do you wish you knew starting out? What skills matter most in your role? A 20-minute conversation with the right person will save you months of going in the wrong direction. And this is where LinkedIn becomes one of your most powerful tools, even before you even have a single certification. Start connecting with cybersecurity professionals, follow people in the roles you want, and engage with their content. Ask thoughtful questions. LinkedIn is not just a job board. It is your public resume, and it is working for you or against you around the clock. When a recruiter or hiring manager looks you up, and they will, what they find on your profile is already shaping how they see you. So start building it now. Update your headline to reflect where you are going, not just where you have been. Write an About Me section that tells your story. Stay active. Post about what you are learning, share your progress, engage with the community. Because an active LinkedIn profile tells the hiring manager that you are serious, engaged, and already living inside the space that you want to work. An empty profile tells them the exact opposite. And that impression is made in seconds. Phase 2 is the foundation. Once you know your direction, now you build your foundation. And I want to be very clear about what that means, because this is where most people waste the most time and money. The goal of this phase is not to become an expert. The goal is to understand how things connect. Start with the core fundamentals: networking, operating systems, basic security concepts. You need to understand how data moves, how systems communicate, and how attacks actually happen at a basic level. Now here's the mistake I see constantly. People overinvest in the beginner certifications thinking that it makes them more hireable, and it does not. Here's what I would actually do. Watch Professor Messer's free content on YouTube for your Security Plus and Network Plus concepts. Learn the material. Do not pay for those exams. Save that money for one baseline credential: CompTIA Security Plus. Security Plus is the most recognized entry-level cyber certification on the market right now. And most entry-level roles expect it. Government and DoD roles require it. Your goal is to pass it within 30 days. That is your first filter, not your career mate, your filter. And while you are studying, get hands-on experience through platforms like TryHackMe and Hack the Box, which have free labs that let you practice real scenarios. Do not just read about security, practice it. Phase 3 is the experience and the proof of work. Once you have your Security Plus, you are going to start applying for entry-level IT roles, help desk, IT support, junior system administrator, data center technician role. And I know what you're thinking. I did not study all of this just to work at a help desk job. Listen, I hear you, but this is the step that separates people who build real careers from the people who stay stuck. Because this is where you learn how enterprise environments actually work. Active Directory, network infrastructure, how real systems are set up and maintained under pressure. You cannot learn that from a YouTube tutorial. Spend 3 to 6 months in that role, and during that time, do not just complete your task. Be a student of the infrastructure. Ask the senior engineers questions. Understand the environment around you. You are building the technical DNA that makes you dangerous later. And then comes the proof of work. At the same time, start building real projects. This is the phase most people skip entirely. And it is the one that separates candidates who get hired from candidates who keep applying. Stop consuming and start building. Build 2 to 3 real projects that you can speak to in depth during any interview. Project 1 could be setting up a home lab, installing SIEM like Splunk or Microsoft Sentinel, generating logs, practice detecting threats, document what you find. Project 2 can be building a vulnerability scanner, using Python to write a basic script that scans network for open ports and flags potential risks. Project 3 can be creating an incident response playbook, documents a simulated security incident from detection to containment to resolution, and document everything publicly. GitHub, LinkedIn, anywhere people can see your thinking. Post about the projects you are building, share the problems you ran into and how you solved them. Because this is where staying active on LinkedIn actually pays off in a real way. If one of your posts gets traction, the right people start to find you. Recruiters, hiring managers, and decision makers, all landing on your profile organically. That is something a resume sitting in an inbox can never do. Phase 4 is specialization. This is where most people spread themselves too thin. They are studying cloud security and penetration testing and GRC and incident response, and the list goes on, all at the same time. And they become average at everything and excellent at nothing. You have to pick one direction based on what you researched in phase 1. SOC analyst, you are monitoring and detecting and responding to threats. Look at the blue team level 1 certification. Penetration testing, you are finding vulnerabilities before attackers do. Look at the PJP from TCP Security. Cloud security, start with the AWS Cloud Practitioner or AZ900 and then work towards higher level certification like AWS Security Specialty or AZ104. GRC, governance, risk, compliance. One of the most underrated and highest paying paths at senior level. Pick one, go deep, align your projects, your resume, and your LinkedIn with that specific path, and use AI as a leverage tool throughout this phase. Use it to simulate interview questions in your specialization. AI will not replace people who know how to think in this field, but it will absolutely replace people who do not adapt. Phase 5 is transition. This is where everything comes together. This is where most people realize that they have been neglecting the most important part of the entire process, and that is positioning. You have the experience, you have the projects now, you have the specialization. Now you need to make sure that the way you present yourself matches the value you actually bring. And that starts with your resume. Your resume is not a list of things that you did. It is a marketing document. Every bullet point needs to show impact, results, what you built, what you improved, and what you secured. Not what you were responsible for, not what your team did, what you did and what it produced. A hiring manager spends around 6 seconds on your resume. 6 seconds. If they do not see the value in those 6 seconds, you are done before you even started. Use strong action verbs: led, built, detected, produced, implemented, automated. Quantify wherever you can. Even in entry-level roles, there are numbers to pull. And tailor your resume for every role you apply for. Not a complete rewrite, but align your language with the job description. Because most companies are running resumes through ATS systems before a human ever sees them. If your resume does not match the language of the role, it never reaches the person. And with your LinkedIn is your public resume. And unlike the resume you submit to applications, your LinkedIn is visible to everybody. Recruiters are actively searching for candidates on there every single day, and hiring managers are looking you up before they even schedule the interview. And what they find or what they do not find is already shaping how they see you. A strong headline that positions you clearly, an about me section that tells you your story, where you came from, where you are going, and why cybersecurity. Because an active LinkedIn profile does something a resume never can. It builds credibility over time. Every post you share, every insight you dropped, every project you document publicly, it all commands. And when the right person lands on your profile, they already feel like they know you before the first conversation. That is the difference between getting found and getting ignored. And then your interview skills. This is the step that nobody prepares for until it is too late. And it costs people more opportunities than any missing certification ever has. Start practicing interviews before you feel ready. Behavioral questions, technical questions, scenario-based questions. Use the STAR method for every behavioral question. Situation, task, action, result. Frame yourself as the person who solved the problem, not the person who was present when it got solved. Practice out loud, record yourself, watch it back, because the person who gets hired is not always the most qualified person in the process. It's the person who communicates their value the best in that room. Confidence in an interview is not something you are born with. It is something that you build through repetition. And here's the differentiator with that. 2 candidates apply for the same cybersecurity role. Candidate A has 3 certifications, a generic resume that lists job duties, an empty LinkedIn, and has never practiced an interview out loud in their life. But candidate B has 1 certification, a resume that shows clear impact, a LinkedIn that tells a story with consistent activity, 2 real projects they can speak to in depth, and has practiced their answers until they sound natural. Candidate B gets the offer every single time, not because they know more, but because they showed more. Here's the roadmap one more time. Phase 1, research and direction. Find your niche. Network with people in your field. Start building your LinkedIn now. Phase 2, foundation. Learn core fundamentals. Get your Security Plus. Get hands-on with real labs. Phase 3, experience and proof of work. Land an entry-level IT role. Build real projects. Document everything publicly. Phase 4, specialization. Pick one path. Go deep. Align everything with the role you actually want. And phase 5, transition. Build a resume that shows impact. Keep your LinkedIn active and optimized. Practice your interviews until it feels natural. That is the path. This is not a shortcut. This is not a hack. This is a system that works if you work it. I broke into tech without a degree and without certifications by understanding one thing that most people never figure out. Positioning is a skill and it is learnable. If you are serious about making this transition in 2026, everything I just walked you through is your foundation. The next step is execution. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn that notification bell on. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Sabil from Cybersecurity. I'm out. Peace.